Okay, I started off. Hello, I'm doing some research on Ernest Shell. Can you tell me if you vetted him at all before aligning with him? If so, can you tell me what credentials, employment, or education was verified? I understand he is no longer associated with Predator Hunter Nation. They reply back, hello, and thank you for your question. Ernest Shell was our operations director for our field representatives. As we vet each and every person through the NCIC and other background searches, mostly through government and ITAC affiliates. Can I call you? There's too much information to type if I can avoid it. And they reply back, we understand Mr. Shell has come under a lot of bullying, and we get calls and messages all the time about him being real or whatever that means. We have been advised to give out answers pertaining to these questions. Please feel free to ask questions regarding Mr. Shell. By the way, my name is Alex, and yours? Please wait until 4:10 p.m. MST to call me, as I will be off work then. I can help you with anything you would like to know about him. As of March of this year, he no longer represents Special Forces of Liberty. In 2021, he helped lead the SOCA into the state's legislation. If you would like the bill, I can happily send you the information on your state. And I said, I assure you, wanting to verify his credentials is not bullying. However, that is the way Mr. Shell uses to keep anyone from getting him. That's why I asked you if you vetted him. If you asked him for a resume to provide proof, he either provides it and problem solved, or he tells you no. I spelled it wrong. I can be brushed off as a bully, but you wouldn't be, if that makes sense, as it's much easier to explain my research over the phone. Exactly how did he help lead the bill? Was that verified? They reply back, I assure you Mr. Shell, along with others, was handpicked by politicians and the governor of Florida. Mr. Shell's objective of Save Our Children was almost named after him. He was the one who declined that it be named after him. The bill alone was written by the federal litigation under the Constitution of the United States of America. There are a few conspiracy things about him, though. And I said, so if I contacted the governor of Florida, he can verify that claim? Which politicians handpicked him? They said, one being the governor personally referred him to our team. We stopped all missions in order to put him in. I know of one. And I said, the governor of Florida told him to contact you or vice versa. And they said, Mike Huckabee, former presidential candidate. I know it's hard to believe, but we get a lot of messages about him. And I said, Mike Huckabee told you to contact Mr. Shell? Or did Mr. Shell tell you Mike Huckabee told him to contact you? And they said, Mr. Shell used to be Mike Huckabee's protection detail. And I said, this would go so much faster if I could call you. Did you verify that? Their reply, yes, the Joint Chief of Staff's mission was SOCA. My reply, so you called Huckabee and verified his employment. They said, Mr. Huckabee came with Mr. Shell and introduced our operations team to him personally. I said, well, because his closest friend of 20 years in his family says that is a story Ernie made up. I can refer you to both of his family and friend. They replied back, I think this was January 3rd, 2020. What I know of Ernest Shell is he lives a very mysterious life. I said, oh, good. So I should be able to contact Huckabee and verify myself. They replied, he would take missions that were on hours and hours apart just to see if he could be accomplished. I said, missions as in? They replied, contact Sean Hatney. He can verify as well. And I said, can you explain missions? They said, extraction missions, rescue our children. I said, you personally witnessed him take missions and accomplish them? How can I verify the mission? Was he paid or volunteer? They said, he was questioned for his involvement on January 6th. The FBI interviewed him and he was questioned by Department of Homeland Security. I said, you witnessed this or is this something he told you? They said, I witnessed. I said, have you heard about his 2 recent psychotic issues which found himself running through a busy highway, ending up in a hospital and then jail? They said, yes, we have, and we've contacted specialists. I said, it's thought his psychotic episodes are brought on by mental pressure when his stories, lies start to cave in on him. I'm doing my own research to verify his stories for myself. They replied back, he's in a safe environment now, though. We encourage everyone to do their own work. I said, well, I will continue my research. Thank you for your time. They said, thank you and have a good night. And then a little bit later, I thought of another question. Why would Mr. Shell have to extract a child rather than law enforcement? And they said, law enforcement doesn't always do these types of missions. I said, what special skills, training, education did Mr. Shell have that made you trust him over law enforcement? Why would an officer leave a child in danger? They actually say, no, we're not going to help that child. And they replied back, the Special Forces of Liberty is a very unique team and they are very good at what they do. I said, I have a call into them also. Can you give me approximate dates of the missions Mr. Shell has worked for you and about how many? Also, was any local law enforcement aware of these missions? And they replied back, I'm not in tune with all that information. I said, in tune as I asked you because you said you personally witnessed Mr. Shell accept and complete said missions. They said, if I tell you something, would you not repeat it? What do you believe in? There's something about him that isn't human. Please don't think I'm crazy. And I said, I have no need to repeat anything. I'm doing this for me, my own research, so no, I won't repeat it. I lied. I assure you, Ernie is human. We would see greater things from Mr. Shell if he wasn't. He is about to do will be just that. He called 3 days ago and shocked everyone. I said, the man lives off women. He's a grown man with nothing, no home, no car, no job, nothing. Oh, and I'm sure he did shock everyone. That's typical Mr. Shell. They said, he lives a secret life. He wants and makes people believe this. We have his assets on file. In his name, we vet thoroughly. I said, well, respectfully, I will have to take your word for it. If he has assets, why does he have to be on YouTube collecting money for missions that cannot be verified? Why did Mr. Shell have to use 3 women in the last year that I speak to personally for ride, shelter, and meals? Why did Mr. Shell recently tell a friend who had helped him when he was homeless that he only had $2 to his name to help them? Have you spoke with Tina at Predator Hunter Nation and asked her why she cut ties with Mr. Shell? And they said, I don't know anything about that. I said, well, I do, so you can see why I have questions. I can put you in touch with my sources for this info, and you can speak to them direct. They replied, they can always message us. We have a few people who admin over the page. Mr. Shell specializes in combat hand-to-hand. One of his accomplishments was the U.S. Marshal Defense Tactics. I remember when I read that on his resume. I said, you read it? Did you verify it? They said, yes, we verify. Everything we get, we verify. Give me until tomorrow, and I will get you someone who knows more than I do about Mr. Shell. And I replied back, so I've got some work for tomorrow. Huckabee, U.S. Marshal, and Hackney to contact and see what they tell me. And they replied back, remember when I told you that I thought I thought he wasn't human? I saw something and it terrified me. And I said, yes. They said, I saw 2 things that scared me. I watched a pole extension break that was around 1,500 PSI. It almost hit Marsha, one of our advisors. He caught it and slammed it, broke it into 2 pieces. How does someone break metal? Another time, he kind of disappeared. Please don't think I'm crazy. And I said, I don't know. Seems a dude with skills like that wouldn't need to live off women and his friends for at least the last 20 years. He sure wouldn't need to be on YouTube accepting money from lonely old ladies. They replied, I think it's a cover-up. I know when he goes out of town, he spends a lot of time at Trump Tower. I said, listen to Mr. Shell's friends discuss his life after his last psychotic issue. Miss Daisy is from the same hometown. Jimbo has been his best friend for the last 20 years. And Tina is with Predator Hunter Nation, and she's very protective of Ernie. I said, well, what respectable man, human or not human, uses old women for a cover? Some of these ladies live paycheck to paycheck. They said, we will check this out. Then December 20th, I said, would it be possible to confirm the identity of the people behind this website? Because I was told that Chris Sever ran it. Or possibly Ernie. They said, hi, thanks for contacting us. We received your message and appreciate you reaching out. Most people behind this page are military activists and some are organization leaders. Are there anything in particular I could help you with? May I help you? I said, yes, I would like to confirm the identity of the people behind this webpage. Government ID names, no addresses. They said, I highly doubt we can make that happen. People on this page have placed their lives in danger, and it's not practical to discuss their privacy with anyone. I said, if I had a law enforcement contact you, would it be possible? They said, depending on what information you're trying to get. I said, just proof of all who are on this page. And they said, we work with law enforcement on a daily basis. We are sworn to protect privacy. I said, can you refer me to the law enforcement you deal with on a daily basis? They can be the go-between to protect your privacy. They said, can you provide credentials of what your agency you work with and the importance of these questions? What you are asking is to put people at risk, and we do not do that. I said, I have no agent I work with. I'm researching Ernest Shell, like I said before. I will provide a copy of my state ID. They said, this is the first time I have talked to you. If you dealt with law enforcement, can you have law enforcement verify that? They said, Ernest Shell, You would need to speak with Unit 8. And I sent him all the screenshots of the previous messages to show him that we talked before. What I know is he is their new leader. I said, who's new leader? They said, that mission starts January 10th. There are numerous people who answer messages. My name is Rick. Nice to meet you. I said, how do I contact Unit 8? Mr. Shell has been indicted by a Kentucky grand jury and is court January 11th or 12th. Can I call you? They said, Unit 8 is secret. All anyone knows is that it's meant to deter. That's all I know. And I'm not even allowed to speak that. Yeah, they did. He was signed up on the 11th of December. Follow Unit 8. May I ask you a question? And I said, sure. We are getting a lot of questions regarding Mr. Shell. What's this all about? I said, I'm just verifying what Mr. Shell said, who he's associated with. I don't know about anyone else calling. Do you think Mr. Shell is a good agent or exceptional agent? They said, all I know is I saw the new contract he's on as the new leader, and it starts January 10th. I hope that helps. I said, I will have law enforcement contact you. They said, okay, thank you. Now why I kind of broke my promise. When I said that I would not tell anybody, I never expected to read the message that I read. After I read that, I still didn't say anything until like 2 weeks ago. But it just didn't sit right with me that this didn't sound like a normal agency. And I decided to make the message public. That's why. Tell me what you think about all this in the comments below.